This afternoon on KIMT News 3 First at 4, a community is mourning in the aftermath of a deadly Mason City house fire, claiming the lives of 4 children, the youngest just 3 years old.
These children leave behind teachers, friends, and others here at school who will miss them deeply.
Now, just one day after the tragedy, we're learning how community members are already springing into action, offering support, funds, and resources for a family reeling from an unimaginable loss.
And I'm KIMT News 3 Samantha Soto, live from the memorial for the children who died in yesterday's fire, plus what the Mason City Community School District is doing to help those struggling with the loss.
And for some, it's almost like the snow refuses to quit. With strong northwestern winds blowing it around, we're faced with several partially covered roads. I'll have an update on road conditions as well as a look at our falling temps coming up.
KIMT News 3 First at 4 starts right now.
KIMT News 3, coverage you can count on. This is KIMT News 3's First at 4.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us for KIMT News 3 First at 4. I'm Jessica Bringy.
My daughter said all 4 of my grandkids perished in the fire.
We're hearing from family and friends first this afternoon as we learn more about the fatal Mason City home fire that claimed the lives of 4 children. This afternoon, the Mason City Fire Department has confirmed the cause of the blaze was an electrical power strip and it was an accidental fire. As part of our in-depth coverage, KIMT News 3's Samantha Soto is once again live with updates as the community mourns the death of those 4 children in a Wednesday morning house fire. She'll join us live in just a few minutes, but first, we'd like to begin the broadcast with the words of the woman who called 911 early Wednesday morning and first reported the deadly blaze.
Traumatizing, terrifying, horrible. It's not something I would want to go through ever.
Taking a look back at the first response to the fire and what we've learned so far, Mason City firefighters say the fire took place just after 5 in the morning on Wednesday at 509 North Washington Avenue. 2 people, 55-year-old John McClure and 11-year-old Raven McClure, were able to escape and are currently hospitalized with burn wounds. 4 other children, John, Odin, Draco, and Phoenix, died. The oldest was 12 and the youngest was only 3 years old. In a half hour before our 4 o'clock show on Wednesday, KIMT News 3 did confirm the deaths of those 4 children with a relative and brought it to you first. Then at 6, we learned the names and ages of the victims with the Mason City Fire Department. As the situation continues to develop this evening, we're following reaction from the community and the family of the victims. And that includes the distraught grandfather of the McClure children. Their grandfather spoke with KIMT News 3 last night when he shared the heartbreaking news that 4 of his grandchildren had died. He says he learned the news from his daughter and is now trying to process this new reality.
It's very humbling, and I just want everybody's prayers, and if you can financially help, do it. If you can't, we'll take your prayers. My family is destroyed. And that's the end. I have no more to say.
He says the family only has rental insurance and are concerned about paying for the funeral of those children. As we mentioned at the top of the show, the community is mourning the loss of these young lives. School leaders from Mason City are grappling with the tragedy that's impacting students, teachers, and faculty throughout the district. KIMT News 3's Samantha Soto has been on the scene since the news broke yesterday. Sam, in your continuing coverage, what are you learning about the resources being offered to classmates and staff so soon after their loss?
Jess, you can see just how devastating of a loss this is by the memorial that's been set up here outside of the family's house just northwest of downtown Mason City, and bears, flowers, and stuffed animals and candles are all out here recognizing their loved ones and those 4 children who lost their lives in yesterday's fire. Mason City Community Schools Superintendent Pat Hamilton says extra resources have been brought in to Hoover Elementary, Harding Elementary, John Adams Middle School, Roosevelt, and Lincoln Intermediate, where the children attended. He says the district opted not to cancel classes. Instead, the community is focused on working through the tragedy by supporting one another and remaining united.
And, students come to school and a classmate's gone, a teacher comes to school and a student is gone. Like I said, there's a deep sense of sadness in our buildings right now, and people are working on coping with it the best ways they can.
The district is partnering with area agencies to bring in crisis support services to help students and staff in coping with these losses. And Hamilton says he is confident they are staffed where they need to be, but will bring in additional resources as needed. Live here in Mason City, Samantha Soto, KIMT News 3.
Thank you, Samantha, for that continuing coverage. The district is urging parents to talk to their kids if they're having a difficult time and to use the school as a resource. The school district is also working with partners in the community to come up with a plan to assist the family. And speaking of that assistance, the Mason City community as a whole is also rallying around the McClure family by organizing a GoFundMe page. Donations have been flooding in all day. Our last check of the page shows more than $11,000 have been raised out of a $50,000 goal. In the description, the page says, quote, "On Wednesday morning, our longtime McFamily member lost her 4 precious boys in a tragic house fire. We are banding together to help with one of the small things in our control, which is help with expenses related to laying her angels to rest," end quote. The organizer of the fundraiser goes on to say the money will cover everything the family lost in the fire, as well as travel expenses to the hospital in Iowa City. All right, we want to switch gears now, and KIMT Storm Team 3 meteorologist Sarah Knox is joining us. Sarah, what is our forecast looking like, especially as we head into the weekend?
Yeah, Jess, I can tell you one thing. For the weekend, grab the big coats. That temperature change that we've been tracking, the one that goes down into the teens, that's still on track. It's going to be a very, very chilly start to our weekend for sure. Before we get there, though, we've got some things to do here for the rest of today and the rest of the week. You can see roadways, a lot of us on the greener side. That's good to see, but there's plenty of blue to be seen once again. Again, partially covered. That's what these blue roadways are being reported as, both in southern Minnesota and in portions of North Iowa. A lot of this has to do with a few tiny flakes still falling, but the blowing snow has been a huge issue as well. And that's because we've got these stronger northwestern winds eventually going to be ushering in that big cool down that we're tracking for the weekend. We still have some snowfall we're keeping an eye on too, especially this band right here beginning to develop, going to take shape. That has the potential to make things a little messy for some here as we come into the evening commute. I've got a few more details about it coming up in the next few minutes, as well as a look at what we can expect when it comes to the big cool down. It's all coming up later on. So Jess, I'm going to send it back to you.
The enrollment period is now underway for Minnesota's health insurance marketplace, and MNsure leaders want to make sure people know about the tax credits available to those who sign up for coverage. Tax credits for enrollees from southeastern Minnesota are going up by an average of $120 a month for 2023. That amounts to around a 10% decrease in MNsure premiums for next year, potentially saving people thousands of dollars. Talking to an insurance expert about how this might benefit you is recommended, especially for those caught in what's often called the family glitch.
For families who previously didn't qualify because someone in their household actually was enrolled through an employer, and even though they had employer-sponsored coverage through that one individual, it may have been deemed affordable, but it was really out of the price point of the family. That actually has been corrected now.
The MNsure enrollment period runs now through January 15th, but you need to sign up by December 15th for your coverage to take effect on January 1st. The Mayo Clinic Blood Donor Program is hosting its 5th annual Pints for Preemies Blood Donation Challenge. Anyone who donated before November 23rd will be entered into a drawing to win a private dining experience at a local restaurant. To schedule your appointment, you're invited to call the number On your screen, the two donation locations are the first floor of the Hilton building and the main floor of the Joseph building on the St. Mary's campus. All right, Thanksgiving is only a week away, and here on KIMT News 3 First at 4, we're counting down our top 4 Thanksgiving sides throughout the show. Sarah and I will reveal what our tops are on our list, and we want you to join us. So please post your top 4 side dish list under today's post on our website, KIMT.com. We will be sharing some of our favorite responses at the end of the show. So without further ado, let's reveal our number 4 sides.
Number 4. Okay, so in the script it says mashed potatoes, which is true. Mashed potatoes, but I was kind of doing some thinking through the day. I'm like, I also like rolls and I also like sweet potato. It's like a stack of number 4, but we'll keep mashed potatoes in there because it's such a beautiful looking picture.
I was gonna say last minute game change, and I chose salad because I think you need something fresh, crunchy, light with all of these heavy Thanksgiving sides. I think it might be a controversial choice, but if you get a really good, fresh, great salad, I think that is pretty darn good. But both side choices, solid.
Yeah, I would say so too. But you know what you can do with the salad? You can just pour the gravy right on there.
Right on top. Cover everything in
Gross,
gravy and it's all good. Yeah, please don't do that. All right, well, stay tuned as Sarah and I reveal our number 3 choices in the next 15 minutes. Still to come, community members continue to mourn the loss of 4 children in Mason City. We'll have live updates throughout the evening and even more community reaction. And later today is the day to give to the Max Day. KIMT News 3's Alec Oz will join us live with an update on local charities seeking donations. Plus,
more women are choosing to deliver their babies at home. I'm Naomi Ruckham with some of the reasons behind the trend.
KIMT News 3, first at 4, the area's most watched afternoon news. Your local news with KIMT News 3's Jessica Bringy. Tracking storms with Storm Team 3 meteorologist Sarah Knox. This is KIMT News 3, more local news that is happening right now. We are coverage you can count on.